Oh, thanks, Ben. Ben coming to my rescue. Glad you're excited, Ben. All right. Um, let's get started. Like as I said earlier, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining. I can't believe our third head of contingent call already. Uh, it's really, really exciting to have you all on the call and looking forward to sharing again some more details. I think we've got two main agenda items we want to cover today. The first one is just maybe for anybody who's new. I know we've had some new HOCs join the thing, so we might just do a quick whip around on our of introducing the main organizing team. And then I'm just going to talk a little bit about registration and some of the solidarity options that we've come up with since we've last spoken that I think are going to be quite exciting. And then the majority of the conversation will be shared with, I'll hand over to Peter, who will be going into more detail around the program and the activities, sharing a little bit more of what we have planned, what the scouts and the rovers are going to be doing, and what you can expect. So looking forward to it. As always, please feel free to ask questions in the chat or to raise your hand as we go. Don't have to wait until the end. And yeah, let's make this as interactive as possible. But I think before we start, are there any general questions before we start from anybody, or should we go through the content and then as things come up, you can ask? All right, nothing. So just a quick, for those who are new, maybe just quickly, my name is Damien. I'm the organizing chair. I'm joined by, I think, most of the teams on the call, although maybe not everybody. We've got Dawn is heading up our marketing. We've also got Peter, who's heading up the activities. We'll give him a chance now. I see Rochelle has put her camera on. Rochelle is our admin lead, taking care of all the registrations and finances and all those good things. I see Rob has also put on his camera. He's joining us from Cape Town, which is looking cold, Rob. So
Freezing.
he is our logistics, so all the transport and catering. Callan is also on the call. He is our camp chief, so all things related to the main campsite is Callan's responsibility. Paige is our ceremonies. We're going to have a couple of great opening, closing ceremonies, and a couple of activities during the week. And then Kaklejo is IST. So that's the team. We're all really looking forward to working with you over the next couple of months and making this event a success. As I said, I think the big thing that's on everybody's mind at the moment is registration. Just a couple of admin points here. So officially, and I'm saying that very, very on purpose, officially registration closes at the end of April. But I'll be honest, everybody, we've so far, the registration numbers are looking very poor. Not from a lack of contingent point of view, but lack of the contingents having put they having uploaded their participants and their ISTs. So at the moment, we have over 30 different NSOs represented by heads of contingent, but only really 2 or 3 contingents have actually uploaded their participants at this point. I think it's, and Rochelle, Debbie, correct me if I'm wrong, it's mainly, I think Nigeria has uploaded quite a lot of participants. Mauritius has uploaded a lot of participants. I
Correct.
think Algeria has also uploaded some, or mainly, Algeria's mainly uploaded IST. So,
Romania as well has uploaded quite a bit as well.
oh, okay, that must have happened overnight. All right, fantastic. So I think thank you very much to those countries that have started loading their participants. I suppose my question is to everybody else, is it a is it a challenge? Are there any challenges that you're facing for uploading the participants? Is there anything is it something with the system? Is it too cumbersome? We do have some workarounds if you need to do a Excel upload or anything like that. Ben, yes.
Thanks, Damien. We're slow because there's a lot of required fields for information we didn't think we needed at this point, like doctor's
Okay.
phone number. Is there a way we could register without all those fields and then update that information later?
Yes. So the one thing I suppose the question is, I think, I know you're probably thinking to yourself, why do I need my doctor's phone number if I'm going to be in Africa and they're sitting in America? But, but I think it is an important piece of information. I think what we let's make a deal with ourselves. I think we can take some of the compulsory some of those off, like a doctor's name, yes, phone number, maybe not. Um, we can look at some of those fields and make them less compulsory, but we do need the detail before the event. I think that's a fair request from our side. I mean, if anything does happen and we do need to get hold of someone and we need medical history or we need something like that, I think some sort of contact information is required. So yeah, I think that's a fair ask. Rochelle, Debbie, can we look at maybe removing are there any other specific fields that are maybe causing problems that you can let us know and then we can update that all at once?
I
Um,
can look through and let you know. And just to be clear, we will have the information. We just might not have it by the 30th.
oh, you will have it by the 30th. Oh,
We
okay.
may. Yeah.
All
Thank
right. Well, I know there was some challenges with letters of good standing as well. Again, I think that is what we will do. And do see the hand. I'll be with you now. I think what we've done there is we've said, okay, because some people are saying getting individual letters of good standing are difficult. I think the request is then to the HOCs to once your contingent is confirmed, we will be asking you then just to validate that they are all legitimate members of the scouting movement. I think that's really the reason for the letter of good standing. So if you want to do one per an NSO that says, okay, the following 30 people are all members of scouts of our NSO, and we can vouch for them, that's fine. We've already reduced that as a required field on the registration. Um, sorry, I do see the hand. Is it Radu George?
Yes, I have just a short question about question. What is refer about medical aid and medical aid number in the registration? Because nobody in Romanian contingents do know how they write here.
Oh, okay. So maybe that is a very South African thing. So we in South Africa, we require participants to have kind of medical insurance of some sort, and usually that you can give the name of the medical insurance and you have a membership number, so that if you have to go to a hospital, private hospital, usually it's to show the hospital that your medical bills can be covered. Is there something equivalent in Romania? Or that could, and again, if you want to cover that with health with your travel insurance, then that's fine. And then maybe that's something that we can also then take out as a required field for now. But again, something that will be necessary before anybody sets site or sets foot on at site, just to make sure they do have some sort of travel or health insurance, so that if something happens, we can take them to the right medical facilities, etc. I don't know if
Okay, thank you.
does that answer your question?
So we can edit this question after the process ended because maybe we can do this medical aid like 1 month
For the
before
group?
we come.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a fair request. I think we can take that out
Okay,
as
thank
a
you.
as a required field. Thank you. Any other challenges that anybody's facing? These are great. Thank you very much for raising them. I think without knowing that, we probably would have been stuck. So thank you. Any other fields or anything that people are seeing that they don't understand? All right, I'm going to take that as a no. If you do see anything during the process, please let us just email the email address. It goes straight to Rochelle between her and Debbie. And if the two of them can't figure it out, we'll make a plan. But normally they can answer it rather quickly. Um, Just another, I think we've mentioned it on a previous call. If you feel you have a lot of people or a big contingent and to upload them individually, or not, you don't want your participants to upload it themselves, please reach out. There is an Excel template that can be used as an upload form. So you could populate the Excel template and we can give you that template. I know there's a couple of contingents. I don't know if Angola's on the call where they're expecting a couple hundred from the kind. I know Kenya is also expecting big contingents. So please let us know if we can help you with that admin burden in any way. This is not meant to be difficult. We just need the information. So whatever way we can pull the information, just let us know and we can assist. All right. Is Angola on the call? I don't. Not.
I don't see him now.
Okay. All right, great. All right, so that's on the registration. Look, I'll be honest with you, 10 to 1, we are going to be extending registration. I think we always had it in the back of our heads, into May. But please, and I'll talk to a point on that in a second, but if you can register, I think the ask is do it as soon as possible. That really is the request. So we'll keep the official closing date now till the end of April. At the end of April, we'll probably extend it for 1 more month, but please don't now delay. We're getting a lot of questions. We need the sooner we can start getting a view of the numbers, we can start bedding down a lot of the logistical requirements. So we really do appreciate it if you could share those numbers and your sizes of your contingents, etc., sooner rather than later. Cool, thank you very much. Then the other question we're getting a lot of ask about, and we've really sat down as a team and thought this through, is a lot of people are saying, we have a lot of scouts or rovers who want to come, travel is expensive. How can we support in some way? And we understand that, scouting is for everybody. So we really have tried to come up with 2 ways that we think will help in some way, and there might be more later, but these are the 2 we can announce now. So from a solidarity funding opportunity, there's 2 things that we are launching today. The first one is an early bird kind of discount. So if you manage to register your whole contingent and pay the invoice by the end of May, we'll give you a 5% discount across the board for your contingent. Ben, I know you've already paid, so we can discuss that. There is also an opportunity if some of the C and D category countries want to donate their discount to the Solidarity Fund. That is also something that we've thought might be nice. So if you, as a NSO or as a contingent field, maybe you don't need the discount, you want to use that discount to help rovers from other countries attend, we can have that conversation. We can help set that up. But early bird discount, 5% across the board for if you can pay and get your registration done by the end of May. The other thing that we're launching, and this is for categories A to C only, and this is for, again, from a solidarity point of view, is a 10+1 deal. So for every 10 paid participants, you unlock a solidarity participant or a free participant. So that is something you as an NSO can manage and decide how you want to, do you want to find individuals that you feel are worthy and need to be, I'll be with you now, Quincy, that need to be, supported, or that somewhere you want to use that discount across the board for all your participants. That's entirely up to you. But so if you have a contingent of 10 people so far, you can bring 1 more person. So 11 people. If you have 11 people in your contingent, you only have to pay for 10. That's for the A to C countries. Again, these are just ways that we're trying to help bring as many people to the moot as possible. Yes, Quincy.
Yes, hello. I just wanted to make sure that I understood that participant, it's just the one free is for participant or for the whole contingent, like including the ISTs as well?
Great question. I think it's for your entire contingent. So including ISTs. Why not? we want people to come. Like it's not. So I said they're participants, but it's for your contingent. So if I think Quincy, you've registered 50 people already, so you can, yeah. Yeah, so we're saying about 90 of them are paying participants. That leaves about 10% that can get solidarity. I'm not sure of the right exact numbers right now.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I hope that helps. I hope between the two of those, that would help in some way to encourage more participation from your countries. And as we unlock more value in other places, we'll be able to launch more opportunities. But I think for now, this is what we can commit to. I saw there was someone who also had a hand. Was it Jeff? Jeff, did you have a question? Not.
No, I'm
All
okay,
right.
thank you.
All right. So yes, again, any questions, anything's unclear, please reach out either directly or on the call or email us. Like I said, the goal is to get as many people to South Africa as possible. So we're trying our best to make that happen. And I'm sure that's the same that's happening in your own countries. So yeah, let's all just work together to make this happen. Good. So if there's no questions on registration and solidarity, then I'm going to hand over to Peter to talk through the program. And yes, okay, one more question. Lazarus? Hi, Lazarus.
Yes.
Yes.
So sorry. I don't know if maybe the question has already been asked, or maybe you have already talked about it. I was more or less like thrown away at some point, so I couldn't just get it clearly.
Sure.
Two things. On registration, I know it's very clear that by the end of this month, registration will definitely be closed. But I wanted to just find out if the invoices, in order for one to start paying, will be opened immediately. And then I think something that, again, I was in the process of hearing, but at some point I think I missed out because of internet, was on the issue of the percentage to be deducted in case you have 10 people. So the 10 people that we are talking about, is it that automatically each one of the 10 receives a 10% kind of a discount, or out of the 10, the 9 people who are paid for, the 10th one can come in as a discount, more or less like free or something like that?
All right.
Sorry if I'm taking you back, but that's why I wanted to be very clear about the two things.
No,
The
that's
time
fine.
when
I
to start making
understand.
the payment and the other one.
We
Yes.
have said it, but let me repeat it. I think it's important. So if we as soon as so we will keep in we will continue to officially registration closes at the end of the month, but we realize that not everybody is close to having their teams or their contingents registered. So if we will continue to receive registrations into May. If you have registered your entire contingent and you want to be invoiced, we will send out the invoices as soon as you let us know. So our original plan was to invoice the first week of May, but because we'll keep registration now open slightly longer, I think that the onus is then on the heads of contingent to say, hi, Zambia, all 20 people are now registered. Can you invoice us? And then Debbie and Rochelle will make sure that you receive that invoice, and then you have until the end of June to pay. If you want the 10% discount, you must pay before the end of May. Otherwise, it will be the full invoice amount. The pay 10, get one free. So it's the 11th person. So we will invoice you. Actually, I haven't figured out the invoicing. You ask a very good question. I figured out the plan, but not the invoicing. I will come back to you with an answer. But essentially, how will we, if you are registering 10 people, the 11th person comes for free. So
invoicing should be primarily for 10 people, but one We'll do that
One-
one line at a 0 value.
As at a 0 value. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's right, Rochelle. So 10 pay, 1 with 0 value. And if there's 20 people, then it's 20 people, 2 with 0 value.
And then, sorry, Damien, you said 10%, it's 5% discount, see?
For the early payment, it's
Yeah.
5. Sorry, I meant early payment is 5%. Yeah. Apologies. Maybe that's where the confusion. Does that answer the question, Lazarus?
It's very clear now. Thanks a lot.
No problem. So are you bringing 100 people, Lazarus? That's actually the question.
So what we've done is that currently the ones that have declared interest to attend, we have 64 on the list.
Oh,
And then
okay.
now those are 64. We have emphasized that can we make sure that we are able to, because what is happening is that we've come up with something like a questionnaire. Now that questionnaire is something that every person who is now ready to participate or attend are able to fill in. It's a very simple one, just in like not even Excel, but a simple one just in a Word document. So they'll fill it in, and then immediately it is sent to me, and then I'm able to actually do that for them and ask our headquarters to prepare a letter of recommendation, like a letter of goodwill for those particular people. And then immediately that is done. So that is where there is a lot of, there's a bit of slowness in doing it. Maybe because we've declared that the closing period will be on the, by this month end. We are hoping that by the time it's coming to month end, everyone who has already declared interest, they are going to do that. But I'm sure by this month end, we'll be able to be sure. But in the meantime, at least we have 64 on the list that have declared interest. Now what is remaining is to do the official registration so that now we can start waiting for those invoices we are trying to refer to.
Fantastic. That sounds very promising, Lazarus. Exciting. It's good to see. We'll see a lot of Zambian Scout rovers here. All right. Well, I think that covers everything. Again, we'll have questions at the end, so we can discuss registration and any solidarity then. I think let's hand over to Peter and let's hear what activities he has planned for us. Thanks, Peter.
Thanks, Damien. I must apologize. My camera has decided it's not going to work, but we'll carry on with the presentation. As Damien said, please feel free to ask questions. I do have the chat up, and you can either stick up your hand or you can put something up in the chat. So the first thing I do want to say is that the program is still subject to change. We are quite a long way down the road with planning, and some of the activities have actually been tested already. We had the day of the last HOC meeting, we had a camp at Arrow Park with 500 scouts where we tested some of the activities. But some of these things are subject to venues confirming, are subject to budgets and changes as we resolve and work through the details. So what I'm showing you here is to give you an idea of what's going to happen, but it may be that 1 or 2 details change as we go. So if you've been to a jamboree or an international moot, the format that we're following will look familiar to you. We will be grouping all of the participants into 4 subcamps, and a lot of the support staff work in those subcamps. And we will then be using, there's a slide later on where I'll explain how the groups are made up, but we will be using these subcamps to move people around for activities. So the first day of activities for the moot, which is the Saturday, is arrival, opening ceremony, getting to know your patrol face-to-face, all of those things. And then the Sunday will be the first day where our actual events and activities run. We have 4 on-site event, well, 5 on-site activities and 3 off-site activities. And if we just follow through subcamp A, you'll see more or less how that works. So if we look at subcamp A will get up in the morning on Tuesday, on Sunday on day 2. They will get a packed lunch, and they will get on a bus, and those buses will take them off to a community service project, which they're going to do en route to an overnight adventure activity. And they'll spend the afternoon and the night and the next morning at that activity, and then they'll return to the campsite. And when they come back to the campsite, they will go to the Africa Development Village. So that's the first 2 days of activities for that group. The next 2 days of activity will be taking part in on-site activities. So we'll have 4 sets of on-site activities, which I'll go into more detail on now. They're called, and you're going to have to just learn a couple new languages as we go, because we have 12 here, and that's just how things work. Gijima, which is a water and physical activities. It means run. It's also what you say to a kid when they're taking too long to come back from doing something. Gijima. We've got Fabrik, which is about technology. We have Vigil, which is about faith and spirituality and creativity. And we have Feldcraft, which is about pioneering, scoutcraft, campcraft, survival, all of those sorts of traditional scouting skills. Then the last day of activities for subcamp A will be an off-site tour into Johannesburg. The 7th day of activities is the cultural day, which is where we turn things around, and you as heads of contingent organize the activities for the day and run stalls and presentations. And also on that day will be an open day where we are allowing scouts and rovers and other interested visitors from around the province, like our host commissioner who I see is in the meeting, hi Angus, to come and visit us. So that will be a chance also, because the participants will not be busy with the activities on those days. It'll be a chance for those visitors to sample some of those activities. Day 8 is in the closing ceremony and the departure. So the way these patrols will work, the way the moot will be organized is that if we start, I'm going to take us backwards here, but all the participants will be grouped into patrols, which will be mixed nationalities. So you're not going to be camping with all the people from your country when you come here. You're going to be mixed up in patrols, and I'll explain later how we're going to arrive at how those patrols work. But as far as possible, we will have 2 people in the patrol from the same contingent, just because it makes it a little bit less of a culture shock if you've got someone from the same place as you. But you will be grouped in a patrol of 10, and all the activities you do will happen in those. In fact, sorry, they may be more like 8 because of size limits we have on some of the activities we run. So, but all of your daily activities that you run will happen like that. Catering and cooking is also going to happen in those patrols. The patrols will be grouped into crews of 5, which will then have 2 advisors. So those are volunteers, IST members who are supporting them. And then those crews will be in the what we're calling paths, which relate to the short left adventures, which we'll talk about shortly. And then the subcamp is made up of those. So all of the participants are grouped in patrols of mixed nationalities, so that you have a chance to get to know people from around the world in all your activities every day. These are the tentatively the activity badges, the activity logos for the events. We are still waiting for final sign-off on all of these, but essentially this is what they're going to look like. And I'm going to take you through a bit more detail now of the activities. So as I said, fabriek is it's the Afrikaans word for factory. This is about making. This is about technology. We have a small battle bot, which everybody will get a chance to play with, which is controlled by your phone and is being developed by one of our local scouters and will be open source and programmable so that you can take that home with you and use it to teach technology. We will have our local radio club who are doing both radio chat, the sort of thing you would do at Jota Joti, but also running some activities on Raspberry Pis, running some satellite activities. We're hoping to download live weather satellite pictures every pass the satellite comes over, so you can see what the weather's doing in real time. Track aircraft coming in and out of the airport, which is just down the road. Later on that same day that you go to Fabriek, you will also go to Kajima, which is about movement, is about water activities, is about sports. So we have some traditional South African games there from various cultures. We have some water activities there because we are on a lake, and we do have some kayaks and canoes that we'll be using there. We have some traditional African board games as well that'll be part of those activities. The other day of on-site activities is the pair of vigil and veldcraft. So the vigil day, we have a number of activities. We're doing some craft and some artistic expression there. We have a volunteer who's a very passionate musician who's going to be teaching us how to compose music. And later that night at the campfire, he's going to help you play the compositions that you have written that day. We're going to explore some traditional African crafts there, and you're going to walk out with something that you've made. That's part of that tradition, and there will be a spiritual exercise there where you get to reflect on the mood for you so far. Veldcraft is, again, as I said, about scouting, traditional scouting skills. So the scout movement in South Africa is still quite strongly based in all of those traditional skills around camping and cooking and hiking and pioneering and bushcraft and survival. So we will be teaching some of those skills here, and the team who's working on that are quite excited about teaching you a new twist on some of those old skills. So those are the 4 on-site activities that you participate in. When we leave site, we will be partnering with local Rotary clubs around the province. We have been testing out this relationship. So actually the photograph on the right is from a project that was part of our national moot in December, where we built some sensory enrichment panels and boards for a center east of us, and that was with a local Rotary club, and that partnership worked quite well, and the Rotary clubs are quite keen to get involved there. So they will be organizing the projects, and we will be providing the workforce for those activities. So we'll spend a half a day doing some kind of activity. Those will differ depending on which short left event you're heading off to. So there'll be different activities. We are going to try and make them relevant to you as rovers. So they will be outdoor activities. They will be community and environmental projects. And then after that, you will go to your overnight activity. And these, again, I must say, are subject to change as far as the final details go, because we're just finalizing permissions and accessibility around all of these, and those depend on the numbers. But we wanted to give you an experience of Johannesburg and of South Africa. So We've picked 5 activities that relate to scouting in this country and also to the unique things that this city has to offer. So the first of the possible activities here will be rafting, which will be an overnight camp on a raft that you will help build. The Kontiki is a big part of scouting in many provinces. In fact, Rob probably has been at his own Kontiki this weekend in the Western Cape. So at Arrow Park, when we have the Scout Kontiki here for our province, we have around 5,000 people through the camp on the weekend. We have about 70 rafts with 8 to 10 people a raft camping on the water. So it's quite a big part of scouting in South Africa. We wanted to give people who want to experience that of building a raft, putting it on the water, spending the night there, you know, waking up to the sun rising over the lake and the water's dead still around you. It's really quite an experience, and we're very fortunate to have access to a lot of lakes very close to us where that will happen. The second one is caving. So on the other side of the province is a World Heritage Site, which is called the Cradle of Humankind, and a number of very important fossils of early hominids have been found there. And we are partnering with a company that does tours through the caves there. And we're going to do a tour through the cave and then also camping on a farm which is up in the mountains. You can't see the light from the cities. The sky is dark. You can see the Milky Way and the southern stars. And when I was there on the other day doing a site visit, there were also vervet monkeys, which you will learn about when you come here. Very curious, not dangerous animals, but very mischievous animals to get into your campsite. But that caving and hiking on that will be it's a very interesting experience. The safari activity, we are finalizing where we can host that. So we want to be able to offer the best activity we can in terms of access to wildlife. We've got to balance that against the numbers. So once we know how many people we have coming on the moot, we can finalize exactly where that will be. But what we want to offer there is an opportunity for you to go hiking with a guide in a place where you're likely to see wildlife. And because of that, because we need the guide for safety, and also because the guides know where the wildlife will be, we've got to finalize exactly what that will look like. But there are a number of places around the province that we're looking at for that. So you will not see lions, but you will see likely things like giraffes, things like hippos, rhinos is one of the options we're looking at. But you will see wild animals on foot in nature. You will get a chance to hike overnight and see those things. The fourth option we've got here is Johannesburg isn't just about the nature and the surrounding countryside. We do have 3 large cities in the province, in fact. So we're preparing an option for people who want to explore the cultural side or are physically unable to do some of the other activities. So if you have a mobility impairment, or if you are not the kind of person who likes crawling in caves, I'm not the kind of person who likes crawling in caves. So there's an option there where we're looking at cultural activities, and that will be visits to museums, visits to the zoo, and a chance to learn more about the culture and history of Johannesburg and Pretoria, which are the 2 big cities in the province. The fifth option is a rowing expedition. So what we do here is there's an 8-person rowing boat, and your patrol will climb onto the boat and they will row across the lake to a campsite on the far side of the lake, spend the night there and return in the morning. Again, this is a traditional scouting activity that, in fact, my Damien and I did this a couple of times as rovers back when we were young enough to be rovers ourselves. And it's a really fun activity, again, out under the stars, in the middle of the Vaal Dam at night. It's really an amazing sight to be away from civilization like that. So what we're saying with these activities is there's a balance here between nature, culture, and adventure. And when you sign up, we will, in the next bulletin that goes out, I believe mid-May, when that bulletin comes out, we'll have more detail on each of these 5 activities and what the balance is between nature, culture, and adventure. And depending on what you want and what you're looking for, your participants will each choose their top 3 out of these. We'll rank them. And we will then do our best to make sure that as many people as possible get the highest choice for each of them as possible. So every person will get, we want to be able to give everybody their first choice, but in the case that we can't, then everybody will get the next highest choice that's available to them. And those choices will determine your patrols. So if you choose caving, you will be with your patrol will all go and do caving together. So that team that you've built will be the team that does all the activities together. And for some of the activities, there will be specific equipment that you need to bring. When I say equipment, it will be things like a headlamp or a particular type of clothing you'll need for the activity. We're not asking you to bring expensive things, but we will give you more information in advance about what those are. And once everybody's confirmed their activities, we can tell you what you need for those activities. When you return back from that activity, you will go through the Africa Development Village, which is where we talk about WASM programs and we talk about our local programs. Angus, I must apologize. I know that there's a logo missing there for one of our local partners. I've just realized, but there are a number of WASM programs, obviously, that you might be familiar with in your home NSOs, and you might not, that we'll be featuring, and we are working on tailoring those programs and those activities to the rover age groups. So we're not going to be doing scout activities with you. We're going to be engaging with those things at a rover level. We also have some local partners. The World Wildlife Fund partners with Scout South Africa, so they'll have some information. We have a local university who grows indigenous crops, and they'll be there to teach us about some of the local African food crops that they're championing and making available. And then the other one is we have a partnership with the local Department of Social Development, who is sponsoring a number of scout troops, and there's really interesting work happening there between us as the Scout Association and them as a department who's identified that we're able to deliver a social development and upliftment initiative for teenage boys. So we'll be talking about all of those things at the Africa Development Village. The last offsite activity is a whole day, which is a tour of Johannesburg. So again, you will get a packed lunch for this day. We're going to 3 places. We're going to Ponte Tower, which was for a long time the tallest building in Johannesburg, is now the tallest residential building in Johannesburg. I think it's now the 3rd or 4th tallest building in Johannesburg, and it's 54 stories high. Just after I took this photo, I ran a race up to the top. I can promise you it is 54 stories. It feels like 110. But we have a scout troop who meet in this building. And one of the things that they do is run tours of the building and the surrounding neighborhood. Hillbrow has been a place where people enter the city for decades. So if you're looking for Ethiopian food, if you're looking for West African food, if you're looking for, Chinese food, it's all around here. So we'll be taking a tour in this building and in the surrounding neighborhood. We'll also be visiting Modderfontein. Modderfontein is a small village. It's a small village because it's next to a dynamite factory. So there's a big open space around it, which is really just the circle you draw around a dynamite factory to make sure that nothing too expensive gets damaged when things go wrong at the factory. But from 1900 to 1907, Baden-Powell lived at the factory. Firstly, to guard it and occupy it during the Boer War, because it was the factory the Boers were using for gunpowder and dynamite. But later to train what became the beginnings of the South African police. And this is the place where Baden-Powell first wore a khaki uniform and a wide felt hat. So it's quite an important part of scouting history, and a lot of the sites that were there when he was there are still around. We can visit the campsite where he used to go camping on the weekend. We can visit a fort outside the factory that he built. I was standing outside the house he lived in yesterday. So we're going to visit that, talk a bit more about that later. We're also going to visit Soweto. This was originally one of our 5 overnight activities. And then I thought that actually, if you come to Johannesburg, it's important that you get a chance to see Soweto. So we will visit Vilakazi Street, which is the street where Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu lived. So the only street in the world with 2 Nobel Peace Prize winners on it. We'll visit Hector Peterson Memorial, which is just a few blocks away from that, and learn about the 1976 student uprising. We'll explore contemporary culture in Soweto, and you'll get a chance to see the city of Johannesburg from a few different angles as part of this tour. In the evenings, after the program is finished, there will still be chances for activities and informal events that happen in your sub-camp and in the main plaza. So every sub-camp will have a campfire. We just, safety and practicality wise, we can't really make a campfire happen for the full camp. So we've decided it's going to be a more enjoyable activity if it's running for a few hundred people rather than 1,000-ish people. So every sub camp will get a chance to do a campfire. There will be we have a local team who record scouting history, who have put a museum display together that they're quite excited about, and I've seen it and it's really good. We've got some people who are going to come do astronomy talks. If you're from the Northern Hemisphere, the stars here are very different from what you're used to, so it's something that's going to be worth seeing. We'll have a mini Kilwell reunion. We'll have a number of our partners and other NPOs coming to do talks in the evening. There'll be things like open mic nights, board game nights, that sort of thing. There'll be a lot of activities available outside of the organized events. And really here it's up to your rovers as to how involved they want to be. There are going to be some people who are very social and are going to want to attend every activity. There might be people who want to just relax and sit back in their campsite, chat with their patrol. That's fine. These evening activities are not compulsory, but we're going to offer a wide range of activities for you. The last full day of program is the cultural day. And as I said, this will be where the contingent presents some aspects of your culture to the rest of us. So we'll send some more information out with the next bulletin that goes out mid-May. But Paige and I have been working on this in terms of Everybody will have a stall where they will be able to present some aspect of their culture. We'll have some suggestions for you there. But I mean, if you've been to an international event, you know that things like food and drink from your country are always popular. Traditional dress, or maybe teaching a traditional game from your country, something like that. And we will also have the main stage and arena available if you want to run an activity there, present a musical item, do dance lessons, whatever it is you want to use for that stage. We'll give you a chance to book those events there as well. We don't have a budget for you for food, but we will point you in the right direction to source things like food for events for this. You know, if you need the raw materials for something, we for the most part can get just about anything in Johannesburg. As I said, where Ponti is, there are traditional food from all across the continent available there. There's a lot we can help you source. So you can get in touch with the planning team and let us know what it is you need, and we should be able to source it for you, because I know that traveling across borders with meat, for example, is not straightforward and is likely to get it confiscated. Quincy, yes, the spot on the arena for the stall for the cultural day is not something we're charging for. If you're taking the standard size, if there's a contingent who wants something that's bigger than what we've got space for, we'll have to have a talk with you about it and figure it out. But we're planning to have one standard table. I think they are 2.2 meters wide, available under cover for every contingent. And if you need more than that, then we'll have to talk about it and figure out what can be done. So the last thing I do want to do while I've got the microphone is I spoke about that tour of Modderfontein, and what we want to do with that is we're going to present it for the participants as an audio tour, but we then also want to make it available afterwards. This is a very accessible part of the city. It's very, very close to the airport, very close to Johannesburg, but not a lot of people know about it. So we want to use that audio tour as something that people can also visit when they come to Johannesburg later. So we're going to record the tour in English and French and use it at the Moot, but we will then have it available as a podcast and as a series of YouTube videos in English and French for, you know, people from the scouting and guiding movement to come to Johannesburg and want to learn more about these things. So if you can share this far and wide with your contingent and with anybody who you think might be interested, we are about a third of the way through our fundraiser, and if we can get this fully funded, that'll be great. I've started lining up recording studios and voiceover artists so that we can produce a really good audio tour that will be something for the patrols to use at the Moot, but also something that's going to be available for everybody who visits Johannesburg afterwards. Again, just a reminder, Audrey, that's a good point. Let me answer this before we go on to that. So for the cultural day, what we suggest you do with your contingent, depending on the size of your contingent, is that you have shifts, so that if you've got a contingent of 50, you have 5 people running the cultural day, and then you give them a chance to go off and see the rest of the activities while somebody else takes over for them. That's what works best. So whatever size your contingent is, you as a head of contingent will organize that cultural day, and then you will have your participants and staff rostered to work on that stall, while the rest of them have a chance to visit the rest of the activities. So we'll give you detail about the time slots that they'll be running near the time, so that you can roster that effectively with your participants. Damien.
Yes, maybe just also to add there, Audrey, if you're concerned that your contingent is too small to man a table for the whole day, then something we did when we were in Portugal is, okay, we didn't have a table, but maybe you can consider putting like a static table up, just like a couple of posters and things. And then we just walked around handing out sweets that we brought from South Africa and things. So don't feel, I think the day's success is the more contingents do, it will really add to the value of the day. But if you are scared that your contingent's too small or something, like, then speak to us. We can think of ways at how we can accommodate you into the schedule for the day. But yes, I think the more participation we have from everybody, I think the more successful the day will be.
Yeah. Just a reminder then of the ways to keep in contact with us. Instagram, the website, Facebook are the main ways we're getting information out. And the webpage is where you will find the bulletins as they come out. But as we put those out, we're also announcing on Instagram and Facebook. If you've got questions, the email address is the most effective way to get to the people that can answer your questions. But you can also send messages on Instagram and on Facebook. I think the next, is really for questions. And I mean, I can answer questions about program, but we've got most of the team here. So if you have any other questions you need to ask, we can deal with those as well.
Thanks, Peter. Yes, Quincy, straight out the gate.
Wait, I have a couple of questions from the contingent. So, first of all, we are going with a backpack. It was mentioned that participants should be going with backpack.
Yes.
But is it possible? How is the road to the campsite? Because if ever we need to bring a suitcase with Mauritian stuffs, like the Sega dress, I don't know if ever we have a music instruments and everything. Is there a way we can bring a suitcase because it may be a little heavy?
Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the map quickly and just show you how access to the site works. But maybe you can ask the next question while I get that ready.
Okay, also because we're going to I think we will take a shuttle, a bus to the campsite from the airport because we are a big contingent. And as well, if you have any contacts or if you're working with any buses company that can help us with this.
I think
And
that's a great question, Quincy. We have spoken. Rob is in contact with finalizing the busing company. And part of that deal is that we'll share those details with the contingent so that if you are a bigger contingent and you need to bus from the airport, we'll make those options available to you. So Rob, that's very much on his radar.
Yeah. So that will come, that information will come soon. As far as access to the site goes, here is the airport. So the terminal buildings are on the west of the airport, and we are right here. The campsite is over here. If we could drive across the runway, it would be a 10-minute drive from your plane to the airport. We have to go around, so it's about half an hour. So to get from the airport, and it's sort of the same distance if you go around the north or around the south, it's around half an hour by bus from the airport. And as far as access to site goes, there is a paved road all the way to the site. So what we will be doing, and if I get this wrong, Callan will jump in and let me know. But as far as I know, we're going to be bringing people in through a gate over here. They will register and come through in this point here and then into the subcamps. So the subcamps, the majority of the participants will be living in this area here. So it's really not far. It's a 200-meter walk from the edge of the road to where most people will be camping.
I think, sorry, Peter, let me come
Yeah.
in there. I think the caution around the bags was more for when you go and do the off-site activities.
Yeah.
So bringing bags to the site is fine, but when you need to now go and pack all your things and go camp at the caves or on the raft or something, carrying around a suitcase is not ideal. So that's why we're encouraging. So as a team,
So for contingent equipment, there's no problem with bringing it into site. Essentially, that's the answer. It's getting to some of the smaller sites, because some of the sites of the off-site activities are very inaccessible. But the subcamp itself, I mean, there's a highway right here, so access is fine. Yeah.
Okay, but then all ISTs will be moving with the participants to the activities. That was also one of my questions upcoming. So what is the role of the ISTs and CMTs? Like, I don't know. I don't see any management team on the registration. I asked also by mail, and they told me to put it as
It's
ISTs.
IST for the moment. That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, so because I thought that there was going to be some kind of management team that would stay on camp and not moving.
Yes,
So
they will. And again, I think Kellen will correct me, but I believe all of the staff, when I say staff quite broadly here, being IST, CMT, and mood planning team, will be camping in this area here, also on site. So some of those IST, and I think this will go to your question as well, Ben. There will be an activity program offered for IST as well. Some of the short-lived adventures are quite restricted in the numbers we can put onto those sites, so we may not be able to offer every one of them to the IST, but we do have, and I think it's scheduled for maybe the June head of contingent meeting. There is a meeting that is scheduled where we'll talk about IST activities. One of the things I didn't make clear in the program, which I just want to go back to quickly, is that every activity has a day where it doesn't run. So what that means is that all of the staff who were scheduled on that activity get a day off. So you can see, for example, on this day, the Global Development Village activity doesn't run, and there's also one other that doesn't run. So every day, every IST member, whether they are part of the program team or part of some other team, will get at least one day off. And we've got a number of options available for them on that day off, and some of them would be free, or would be included in the cost that they're already paying to attend, and then some of them would be an additional charge depending on what they do. And we'll have more detail around that soon. We have started planning those things, but yeah, so there will be more detail on that as we go. Quincy, do you have a further question, or is your hand?
Maybe I could just address the CMT question. So
yeah, I think
Quincy,
that's important. Yeah.
I think because of the size of the event, we didn't envision IST and CMT being vastly different. Because, depending on the size of the contingents that we're expecting to come, I think I don't think the program's big enough that we can only have dedicated CMT. So our hope is that HOC, IST can, if they're there and they're part of the contingent management team, we can still, use them in some of the other activities. I think that we're really going to only be able to finalize once we're clear on sizes and numbers of contingents and stuff. So if you are from a big contingent and you feel you need dedicated CMT, then we can figure that out, and we won't put them into one of the other IST roles, or we'll keep them at an IST role that's at the main site and not one that's off-site, etc., etc. So I think that's some of the detail that once we're firm on the numbers, we'll be able to finalize for you. So for now, that's why. And I think the same goes for HOCs even. Like if you are a small contingent and you're a head of contingent, like I remember my head of contingent in Portugal got quite bored, and we don't want that to be the case. So we will make sure we'll definitely be able to keep you busy. So bearing in mind that there will be maybe morning meetings and keeping things in line. But so if you are from a smaller contingent and you are a head of contingent and you're scared you're just going to sit around while everybody has a fun, like we'll be able to solve that for you. Don't worry. I
All
hope
right.
that half answers your question, Quincy.
Yes, thank you. I have another question.
Sure.
So it was said that um, ISTs will be cooking their own food on the campsite, just like the other participants.
No, that's incorrect. IST will be catered for. Only participants will cook for themselves.
Okay, now question. Uh, we are not used to African food. Will we have to like, are there going to be options? I remember being in Portugal and it was quite complicated for a couple of persons because they don't eat like some kind of meat and everything. It was really, really an issue for us. And are we going to get like kind of menu in advance so we know if there is any difficult stuff, or we can cater for anything else for someone who is unable to eat whatever is being given?
So I think, Quincy, we will be catering to the, I almost want to say the usual catering options, vegetarian, gluten-free, vegan, halal, kosher, things like that. We have a menu. I don't imagine it's a very foreign menu, if I want to put it that way. We can share it ahead of time, but I suppose the short answer is also sometimes these events experiencing the food of the country is part of it. But we're not, there'll be vegetables, there'll be protein, there'll be starch for most meals, or at least the afternoons and the things like that. So I think catering will be well rounded. If I don't know what you refer to, things that are like, we're not, yeah. But I think the meal, it's a well thought out, well balanced meals that we will be
Right.
providing.
Good. Last
Uh,
question.
sure.
The I'm sorry, the contingent is not.
No.
So before and after campsite payment or fees, because our scouts are traveling with us the day that we should come, like on the 30th, and our flight is one day after closure. You can give us the options and the prices as soon as possible so we can plan financially, that would be really, really nice.
All right. As I said, as I think I've answered this before on a call, I think the campsite will be available for camping a day or two ahead and for the day after. I don't see it being it will be a minimal fee, if any. I think let's just, yeah, we'll communicate it ahead of time, but I don't think it's going to be something. It'll be just to help cover some water and electricity, if even that much. But we will
All
let you
right.
know.
All right. All right. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you. That
Thank
was
you.
all for me.
No worries, no worries. Quincy always has great questions. And I really appreciate it. I mean that earnestly. Thank you. You're always asking via emails and stuff, and it's really good that you ask those questions. We appreciate it. Radu.
Okay, yes, I will be short. So I have just a question about arrival days because
Yes.
I saw the IST training days on 31st of July, and we checked the flights, and the flights arrive in South Africa like 10 in the morning on 31st of July, and I want to ask if it's a big problem, because if you want to arrive in 30th of July, the price are increased like 400 euro more than the 31st of July.
No, I think we understand that we can work around it. How many people are you planning to bring from Romania?
Like we are 12 or 13 people. We are not a big
Okay, and how
contingent.
many IST?
I think it's 5 IST.
All right, no, that
5.
should be fine. We can
Okay.
work around that.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem. No, that's crazy. That's such a big difference from a Thursday to a Friday. Jeepers. Okay. Any other questions? Great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the interactiveness and all the questions and the engagement on the call. Thanks again for Peter. He's been doing a mammoth job for a long time to put together the program. I'm really excited for it. I think this is a great program. Yes, please support the Moederfontein audio tour fundraiser if you can, follow the link. And as always, looking forward to seeing all these registrations flooding in over the next 2 weeks. Really excited for it, and reach out via email if anybody has any questions. My team, has anybody got anything they want to add before we log off?
All good, thanks from the side.
Good, thanks. Anybody else on the call? Final questions? All right, fantastic. Thank you very much for giving up your time on a Sunday, and we look forward to seeing you all again at the next call. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All the HOC meetings are clear, so it's nice.
Sorry, say that again, Radu.
So thank you so much for the all your meetings are very clear, so we don't
Oh,
have
yeah.
more questions.
Fantastic. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. Are my friends from Path 20 coming?
Oh, nice.
All right, no, that's cool. All right, have a good one. Thanks, everybody.